Well, I made Angela's dress at least. Oh, sad music. A few weeks have passed since I lost Neil at the hospital. It's already December by now. My neighbors are so noisy. Angela's dress is finished, or well, she still needs to do her final fitting so I can make adjustments, but other than that, her raunchy dress is just about completed. It's not that raunchy, it's actually quite nice. Just in time as well, her party is next week. Shop is quiet for today, but I'm rushing in and out of the workroom to add last-minute details on the dress, or cut away any loose threads. Staying busy is the only way to prevent myself from thinking about anything else. Things like the bell rings and I look up, that must be Angela coming over to pick up her dress. Except the person standing in front of me isn't Angela. It's Neil. He looks bashful and out of place in my store, fidgeting on the spot, refuses to meet my eyes. My breath is caught in my throat. I don't even greet him. It's like time slows down to a miserable crawl, and every second is like an eon that simply highlights the fact that neither of us are speaking. The silence is deafening. Why is he here? Neil finally clears his throat. Angela sent me in her stead to pick up the dress. Well, you can't fit the dress. It's not made for you. I lower my eyebrows at him again. I need her here personally for the final alterations. I expected as much, Neil says with a small sigh. I'm quick to show him the door then. I'm sorry, but Angela needs to come over herself. Good day.
Huh?
Neil's eyes suddenly widen. Wait, he exclaims. I look at him, waiting for him to say something. Anything, really. Yet, on the other hand, I don't want him to say another word either, because I'm scared of what he has to say. I'm nervous and anxious and still really mad at him. Look, I wanted to say... Neil's speech is clumsy, which is very unlike him. Thank you for checking up on me a few weeks ago. I slowly nod my head at him. Don't mention it. No, really, don't mention it. I've been trying to forget ever since. Neil nods his head at me as well, this time his expression back to being serious, the Neil I know. He turns around and starts to walk away. I let out a jittery breath of relief. No, that's not what I wanted to say. Neil turns around once more to approach me, takes a huge breath and awkwardly fixes his tie. His lips part, but no words come out. I stare at him some longer, wondering what he wants to say. But with each passing second I can see Neil is starting to break out into a sweat. His cheeks are turning a rosy color. Out with it. If it had been any other time, I might have reveled in the fact that I'm making Neil feel out of his element. But right now, I've got no leg to stand on. I'm feeling uncomfortable as well. That night, why did you... Let him finish. Neil pauses and I stare at him, waiting for him to continue what he has to say. The anticipation is hard to swallow. How come you didn't recognize me? Neil gives me this conflicted look. Because, you see, I define people by their hair, like color and shape. As a person, I also do this. So if someone changes their hair, it takes me a while to adjust. I'm still not used to you. You look much better, though. I look down at my hands with my cheeks turning slightly pink from embarrassment. I mistook someone else for you. He had the same hair color as you and even rudely bumped into me. Your voice was different as well. Neil blinks at me, then looks away again. He runs his finger through his black hair, like he doesn't know how to respond. Every year they hold the masquerade ball in my father's honor. Angela and I have always attended since we were little, Neil says finally. We try various things to look different from normal, turning it into a bet of who could spot the other first. This year I changed my hair color, even though it didn't matter as Angela found me relatively fast. So you planned this? I say, slowly taking in the information. No, he immediately replies. He winces at his own words. I mean, yes, in a way, I planned to make myself look unrecognizable. But that doesn't explain why you went along with it. Why, Neil? Why did you continue to fool me into thinking you were someone else? Your voice, it was different, deeper, not as pompous. Neil stays quiet, looking pensively at the floor, refusing to answer. I can feel my emotions bubbling toward the surface. Do you really hate me that much?
Huh? No.
Neil looks at me in shock. No, I don't, he says softly. Wow, that's red. His cheeks are suddenly colored with a deep shade of red. Don't hate you. Ugh. Why, thank you. That makes me feel much better. I just deeply despise you. And then, in the most uncharacteristically way possible, he bolts for the exit. That's not that strange, he's done that before. Bye. The next day after Neil's spectacular escape, Angela comes by the boutique personally. Darling! She greets me with a loud smile. Welcome, I greet her. How was Italy? Marvelous! Just a divine, sweet little country. Although, if I see some pizza one more time, I think I might barf. Angela scrunches up her nose. I laugh a little. Actually, you know, Italy is real pizza. If you're in America, you don't know what pizza is. I laugh a little and then I gesture towards the workshop. I need you to come with me to the back to fit the dress. Can't wait to see what you cooked up. Last time I saw the dress, it was still inside out. Yes, because I had to fit it. Angela walks with me to the back where I have her golden dress waiting for her. She's squealing in awe, unable to contain her excitement at seeing the finished dress. She tries it on and makes a few quick alterations as needed so that it fits her perfectly. It's raunchy and daring and exactly why Angela likes it. Oh, forget about wanting to draw the attention of the man I got my eye on. That night, everyone's eyes will be on me, she says gleefully. Even the ladies will be checking me out. She winks at herself. You did well, Artides. I almost wish I could have taken you with me to the party. But you know, I've already got my +1. He's going to adore this or downright worship me. I hope you'll have fun at your Christmas party, I say with a small smile. Angela looks at me after stuffing the dress inside of a large box. At least fold it. You look a little sad. Are you feeling under the weather? I shake my head. No, I'm fine. Thanks for asking. Tell you what, sweetheart. Come over for dinner at my place tonight. You absolutely have to. Food will be ready at 6. See you then. She grabs a large box I prepared for her and then struts away with a smile. Have you paid for this? Thank you. I'll have a very nicely written check for you to pick up on tonight. It's not how you spell check, I think. Angela leaves my store with her dress in tow. Does anyone accept checks still? I don't think so. Well, I guess eating dinner at Angela's apartment isn't such a bad idea. No man, rich people food. Hell yeah. That's fine, let's go have some dinner. Later in the evening, I get dropped off by a taxi at Angela's apartment. I make my way up the building once I've arrived and ring the doorbell. Angela greets me at the door, holding a glass of wine in her hand. Hello, I greet her in her own voice. You made it! And early too. Come in, come in. You said food would be ready at 6. I assumed I had to be here earlier than 6. As I enter her apartment, Angela gives me a approving look. A lovely outfit, just right for the occasion. I know I can always count on your impeccable fashion sense. Oh, the check's on the dining table. Go get it while I finish wrapping up dinner. I'm feeling a bit nervous as I walk towards the already set up dining table to retrieve the envelope with the check. And that's also when I notice there aren't just 2 plates set up, there's 3. Should have expected this. She's mastermind. Angela, is someone else dining with us? I ask her as I grab the envelope. Of course! I hear Angela yell from the kitchen. I open up the envelope and take out the check, my eyes widen at the amount written on it. Wow, this is way more than my usual rate. Good evening. I spin around, startled at someone else's voice right behind me. Neil! I exclaim. Shocking. Who else would it be? Neil's behind me, looking a bit out of place, sitting on the couch, looking like he's had no idea I'm coming as well. I grind my teeth. She said this up, didn't she? Yes, she did, because you're both very easy to fool. Good evening, I reply hesitantly. Last time I saw Neil, he bolted right out of my store after saying he didn't hate me. Not quite sure where we stand right now, but all I know is that this is awkward as hell. Dinner's almost ready. Would you like to sit down? Neil asks as he gestures towards the dining table. I'm a bit wary of this polite Neil, but I nod my head anyways. Neil walks past me, his cologne lingers behind, and it's making me feel a bit lightheaded. Oof, that's a lot of cologne. He pulls out one of the chairs for me. This is weird. I take a seat anyway, and I'm feeling very self-conscious all of a sudden. What's his deal? Neil takes a seat as well, at the opposite end of the dining table. Now I feel like I'm forced to look at him, which is something I really do not want. The more I'm around Neil, the more I start to feel confused, and the flashback of the masquerade plague my mind. Things like kissing Neil, for example, the main things that happened. I look down at my napkin, feeling heat rush to my cheeks. Why does Neil have to be here? Luckily, Angela barges into the room carrying a large pot with her. I welcomed the distraction, considering my mind was going places I didn't want it to go. Angela's quick to set up the food, and it really does smell delicious. We all dig in. I'd like to say that dinner went well, but unfortunately it didn't really. I was only half paying attention, listening to Angela talk about her time in Italy, and noticed how her glass of wine have multiplied. Very soon she's drunk and starts to slur her words, giggling whenever she recalls something funny. Neil hasn't said a word the entire time. You should have seen him, he was a wimp. Then again, he still is, says Angela. I'm barely paying attention, looking at my plate of food. Who? I ask. Nelly, of course. Neil finally makes his presence known and sighs in response. Angela, you're drunk. Please do not embarrass me any further. We called him Nelly back then, and by we, I mean me, like the royal we, she says, sounding very proud. Nelly was always afraid of standing up to his parents, silly little boy. So I told him, your really cool aunt will beat them up for you. I love you so much, Angela. Can't possibly embarrass me any further than this. Please stop talking. And did you? I ask, ignoring Neil. No, of course not. I was like 14 years old, and also I'm not his aunt, I'm his cousin. Instead, I convinced Nelly to run away. It's actually quite funny. There are cops looking for him all around the place. Oh boy, were his parents mad when they found Nelly. Suddenly my interest peaked. Angela's talking about the time Neil ran away when he was young, isn't she? The time I found him at the playground, in case you had forgotten. Steal a glance at Neil and can see he's trying to hide his face behind his hand, covering his rosy cheeks. It wasn't much of an awkward situation, I'd call it adorable. So I asked Nelly, where do you go? Right, and he tells me how her hero found him. Yeah, like Superman? I'm not sure. The details are a bit fuzzy. I love you so much. Neil sinks into his chair even further, his hand now covering his entire face. He wouldn't shut up about it. How a hero in like his favorite comics came to save him. They both ran away from the police. I was actually quite jealous, because I used to be the one Nelly looked up to, and you know, the cool one. I guess boys grow up. Leaning a bit closer. So this hero you mentioned, do you know who it is? Angela throws her hair up in the air. Beats me. All Nelly would say is that he was some really cool boy, way cooler than me. He was such a little shit back then. She directs the last part towards you. Angela, I love you.
Oh.
Honestly though, it sounded like you had a crush on him. Was he your childhood love, Nelly? Was he? Yo. On fire. Neil's face suddenly scrunches up and he turns bright red. That was what I was thinking also, Angela. Angela, that's enough. Well, that's a turn of events. Is it true? I ask Neil. Of course not, he barks at me. Don't confuse adoration with infatuation. Of course not, why would I? Feel myself blush. He adored me. Ah. But I guess his parents got super mad at him because Nelly hasn't run off since. Where's your hero now? Ha. Right here, bitch. She finally gets up from the table. I'm getting my wine. You want some? No, I'm good, I respond. Angela wobbles away towards the kitchen. Sounds of glass clinking and doors opening can be heard loudly, and I briefly wonder if Angela has tripped and fallen down. Tease him about being a hero. I look over at Neil instead. I can't contain the grin on my face. So, a hero, huh? Not another word, Neil hisses. Must have been a really cool person from the sounds of it. Mock him. Told you. You zip your lips. Aha! Make me. Is that why you say I ruined your memories? I ask, looking curiously at him. Because I wasn't a hero, but a heroine? Who cares? It doesn't matter now. Neil looks away while crossing his arms across his chest. I guess not. But clearly it bothered you. Before we can even continue our conversation, Angela is back with another wine glass. She eagerly shares some of Nelly's memories, all the while Neil stays silent. I crack a smile every now and then. The relationship is actually quite lovely, with the amount of times Angela has stuck up for Neil. Time ticks by fast, and before I know it, it's getting close to midnight, and Angela's passed out on the couch. I end up clearing the dining table, gathering all the dishes, and walking to the kitchen. Neil helps me out without saying a word. After we finish, I finally break the silence. Should we leave her like that? She'll be okay. She's had worse. We'll carry her to her bed. Wonder how many nights Neil has experienced just like this one. Well, I guess I'm heading home. Neil picks up Angela from the couch, who groans in response, but is otherwise fast asleep. He carries her over to the bedroom, and I patiently wait his return. Turn off the lights. Should I walk you home? He asks when he's back. My first instinct is to say no, but in the dark, so close to Neil like this, I can feel myself wanting to stay around him a little longer. Sure, I say. I hate that this lamp is like right over the couch. Oh, it's snowing. Great. My favorite. We leave the apartment together. Snow is falling quietly all around us. There's not a single other person in sight, but that makes sense seeing as it's past midnight, in case you had forgotten. Neil opens an umbrella and walks next to me to shield us from the snow. He's so close to me, but it's not at all awkward. Are your hands alright? Neil asks me. I look at my red hands and stuff them inside the pockets of my coat. Oh, I'm fine. I can withstand a little snow. We're quiet for a while before walking silently on the sidewalk. I know where I live is quite far, and a taxi would have been much easier, but I guess I didn't want to leave Neil just yet. I swing my purse back and forth, wondering what to say. Have you seen Angela's dress? I ask. The one I made.
No.
She hasn't been keeping it a secret exactly. Neil shakes his head a little. Oh, that's Angela for you. Likes the attention. Say with a smile. Always has. You two seem close, since you were kids. I feel like if I keep talking like this, then I won't notice how I feel my heart beat faster now that Neil's walking closer to me. Girl, dumbass, just accept that you're in love with this man. Yes, she's always been bossy over me. She's got her quirks and faults, but she can be quite lovely. Can see him smile as he recalls some memories. She's always been there for me, like an older sister. I admit my first impression of Angela wasn't very favorable, just some crazy drunk, but she's grown on me since then. My first impression of her was amazing, and she's lived up to it every single time. Neil keeps quiet once more, and I realize why. I met Angela for the first time at the masquerade party, a subject we've both been avoiding, like it's taboo. It kind of is. And just like that, we spend the entire way in complete silence. Way to make it weird. When we arrive at my store, I feel relieved that I don't have to stick around in the suffocating silence anymore. I stop at my front door, then turn to face him. Neil closes the umbrella and shakes it to remove any snow still on it. We're safe from the snow underneath the awning of my store. You didn't have to walk me back the entire way, but thanks. Neil looks deep in thought and doesn't respond, besides a simple nod. Oh, good night then. I feel briefly disappointed that nothing happened the entire time. What were you hoping for? Vagabonds? Why does my nose itch so much when I do this? What was I even expecting? Sorry, says Neil in a tiny voice. I raise my eyebrows at him and want to ask him what he's apologizing for. In fact, I'm quite shocked he even had that word in his vocabulary. Didn't think Neil could ever not utter the word sorry. Still roasting him. You said you'd be nicer. For mistaking you as a boy, he says. And for my subsequent reaction and attitude afterwards, we met up again by chance. I lean against the cold door frame. You mean being an asshole? Neil huffs and glares at me, but it quickly vanishes from his face. Yes, he lets out a deep sigh. I was embarrassed that I met someone from so long ago, someone that I might have looked up to. And that someone turned out not to be the rough boy I imagined, but a beautiful woman instead. Yeah, that's a bit strange. My eyes widen. I can't help it. My face flushes red at the abrupt compliment. Wasn't expecting that. I lashed out to hide my embarrassment, and for that I apologize. Ah, didn't know you had it in you to apologize. Just say thank you. I'm actually quite floored. So much that I fan my face a little to cool it down despite the cold weather. Neil growls at me. Don't test my patience. I recall the conversation we had a couple of months ago, when he said he only cares for a select few people, I have to say. So you looked up to me, I mused. What about now? Am I one of those people whose opinion matters to you? It's Neil who widens his eyes this time. Even though it's hard to see in the dark, he doesn't answer me. So, huh? I guess that's why you pranked me that night. It didn't prank you, Neil hisses. He shakes his head and starts to quickly pace back and forth at my doorstep. He seems quite shaken up. I simply... He begins, and then stops to look at me. He's gesturing with his hands, but he doesn't quite know where to start. It's weird to see Neil at a loss for words like this. When I realized you had no blubbering idea who I was, that you mistook some other man for me, I went along, alright. Why? I whisper. Neil throws his hands up in the air, and then runs them through his hair, grabbing a fistful. I just like how you were treating me when you thought I was someone else. You weren't trying to be snarky with me, you weren't so tense and on guard around me. We weren't having some petty argument. Simply normal. That's all there is to it. Take a moment to collect my thoughts. So Neil says he wasn't pulling a prank on me during the party. He simply kept the facade going because he liked how I was treating him when I thought he wasn't Neil, who I have, up until that point, despised. I remember back at the party I realized that I was acting awful towards a person that I mistook as Neil. Now I must have been treating Neil all this time. Listen, look, I'm all for, looking at your past mistakes and, taking responsibility and accountability and all that. But also, you don't have to just constantly be nice to people who aren't nice to you. Sometimes they deserve it back. You don't have to treat people like crap all the time. But if someone constantly treats you like crap, you don't have to be nice to them. Who cares? Honestly. But whose fault is it in the first place that I acted like this? You see, that is a good point, in a way. I could have been nicer, but also, I'm gonna call you out on your attitude. Well, I wouldn't have treated you like that if you weren't such an asshole to me in return, I say defensively. I already apologized for that, he fires back. That doesn't excuse all the times you've been terrible to me, and then you went as far as to seduce me. I absolutely did not. Neil's voice breaks as he yells. I was not trying to get into your pants, ma'am. I was just appreciating that you have some civilization once in a while. Honestly. Didn't make you do anything you didn't want to do. Don't blame that on me. That is fair. That's also true. Don't blame everything on him. You were still a dick. But he kinda deserved it sometimes. It's a slippery slope. Whatever. They're both at fault and they both should apologize. Ugh, I wouldn't have done any of those things if I knew it was you. I recall the memories of me kissing him and all those feelings come rushing back. The allure of kissing some stranger like I was in a fairy tale. In the end it turned out to be Neil. The kind stranger was in fact a pompous jerk. And also he said some things. Which was strange. Am I still your Cinderella, bruh? I'd never have kissed him if I knew it was Neil. Wouldn't you have, though? Are you sure? You were really trying to find him. Neil looks at the ground. You wouldn't have? I'm taken aback. What a loss for words. Yes, same thing. What does he mean? What's he saying? I wouldn't have what? No, you're just being willfully obtuse. Yes, yes I am. Grit my teeth. Well, if you'd just been a little more clear, then I can give you an answer, Mr. Simple and clean... Wah. Assault. And just like that, Neil's hands are on the side of my face and I'm pulled into a kiss. Dramatic music. For a split second I'm taken off guard until my brain starts firing up again and I realize Neil's kissing me. My hands press against his chest and push him away. Our lips break apart. I wanted to yell at him, scream, preferably, so that people think I'm being assaulted. And when I look at his face, I see the innocent confusion. My anger melts away. Instead, I feel the sudden rush of excitement, the same rush I felt that night when I first kissed him. You see, now, you need to look from his perspective, because that's not what you've been doing. You've just been looking at this from your own perspective. He knew who you were, and he went and, well, he accepted you kissing him. He was horrified. Granted, because you were kissing a stranger, and he's like, I didn't know she had such low standards. But still, he kissed you back quite a lot. So from his point of view, he was enjoying it. He wasn't just messing around. He was so annoying, I say before I yank on his shirt and bring him down to my level to press my lips against his. That was a weird reaction. I focus on the warm feeling of his plump lips. They're just as addicting as the first time. Neil's arms snake around my waist as he pulls me into an intimate embrace. Again, with doing this outside, you two. I feel helpless and overrun by my emotions, who want nothing more than to continue kissing Neil. You gave your emotions personality. The kiss is rough and clumsy, like we both can't get enough, and my mouth feels sore just after a few seconds. Teeth clash into each other. Terrible. Neil dominantly presses me against the door and the doorknob digs into my back. Did he aim for that? I break free from his lips just long enough to open my door and we both stumble inside. Don't make me read out something awkward. The bell of the store jingles but neither of us pay attention to it. I pull Neil closer to me after he slams the door shut. I can hear my heart pleading for those lips again. I like the little sound, like they're making out, but it just goes. They just do this. Just this. Very hard, and they're just moving against each other. Disgusting. Stop it. I lean forward myself to catch his lips. Why do I do this? Why don't I check these things beforehand? Give me a second. My tongue slips inside and connects with Neil's. My entire body shivers. But it isn't me that moans. It's Neil. It's muffled. But oh my god, that's so hot my knees spontaneously turn into jelly. Collapse on the floor. Instant death. Fatality. Neil's arms keep me upright, and soon enough I find myself pressed against the counter. Stop pushing me against things! Desperately I struggle to take my coat off, and Neil does the same. Our coats lay forgotten on the ground. Her bedroom's upstairs. She lives... You don't... There's windows. Whatever, you exhibitionists. I place my hands on top of Neil's shoulders, not breaking away from his tongue, to give myself a boost to sit on the counter. Don't make me read this out. Stop. Both of you. Please. If this gets much worse, I'm just gonna be making facial expressions, okay? Wrap my legs around Neil's waist and twist my tongue around his. Neil grunts loudly and his hands are running over my back until they're tangled within my hair. His tongue is now pushed inside my mouth, like he's battling for dominance over me, and I push back just as hard. Making out is weird. The chemistry between us is undeniable, and in this moment we just seem like a perfect fit together. Ah yes, hate sex. I hope you didn't hear that, that was my stomach. I'm so hungry. Neil breaks away from me and I immediately want to pull him back because I miss his warmth. He is on fire, this poor man. He gives me a longing look while he takes a second to catch his breath. Blah. Then he's back, hand wraps around the side of my neck, and soon Neil's lips are on the other side, sucking a sensitive patch of skin there. Ugh. This is getting really, really weird. I did not sign up for porn, y'all. I thought this was a dating game. I harshly suck in a breath and claw my fingers on his back. His hair tickles my cheek and my lips brush against the tip of his ear. I can feel Neil leaving a trail of kisses on my neck, and I am once more gasping for air. Maybe this is what could have happened if we weren't interrupted at the party that night. You still would have been horrified. Whatever. More. I want more. I don't. Stop. Fade to black already. Feeling more aggressive, I place my hand on the side of Neil's face to bring him back up to mine. I press my lips against his. Oh! Hello. Hey, I'm wearing a nice dress. I'm just on my counter. The lights are on. She looks kind of uncomfortable. But whatever. Oh, look at that arch. Cool. No! Leave the stuff on the counter. Just, you have a bedroom. Whatever. I lower my body a bit, pushing away any objects on the counter, and I pull Neil along until my back is touching the cold end of the counter, and Neil is practically on top of me. I love the feeling of his weight on me, and I keep him locked in place by embracing him with my arms. What else are you embracing him with? What is these weird sounds? It's not like Neil is showing any indication he wants to leave, because he's writhing and squirming on top of me while letting out little gasps of air as he continues to kiss me. Not like that, but that's funny. It's like uncharted territory, both of us exploring what the other has to offer. I mean, technically, yes, it is uncharted territory. Because you've never done this with him. I'm assuming. Our bodies are hot to the touch when this is starting to go down a dangerous path. No kidding! That's not the wallpaper I picked. Hey! CG. Neil nibbles at the bottom of my lip. The bottom of my lip? Not your bottom lip? And any doubts I may have has just fly right out the window. He kisses me like he's hungry for more, and like he's unable to stop himself. His lips are so hot on mine. I feel like your faces should be numb by now. Can't believe this is really Neil devouring me like it's the last night on Earth. Sacrifice your soul. Oh, you pushed the whole welcome thing off. Please tell me you did not throw the cash register off. By accident, my elbow knocks something over from the counter, sending it crashing to the ground. Do not be the cash register. The sound has interrupted us both and we're finally apart and sitting up straight, but Neil doesn't pull back all the way, keeping an arm locked around my waist. It seemed to have been the umbrella Neil was carrying that I knocked off the counter. Blasted umbrella? When did you put it on the counter? I thought you dropped it outside or something. We looked at each other for a while, both a little bit out of breath. I cursed the umbrella in my mind. Neil's arm finally slips away from my waist, and my body tenses up, longing to feel his touch again. We should... He starts in his really sexy voice. Probably stop. Oh, Articles, does this voice turn you on? Is this a sexy voice to you? Gosh. Neil bends down to pick up the umbrella and keeps it close to his body. Just strategically close to his body. Immediately I want to protest and ask why in the world he would want to stop. But the more seconds pass where we're not sucking off each other's face, the more time I have for it to sink in. And I realize I've just been heavily making out with Neil. Only hours before I could have sworn I was mad at him, and only seconds ago he was on top of me. You're so good at noticing things, Articles. I sheepishly nod at him, wiping away any saliva near my mouth. Gross. All of a sudden I feel embarrassed for acting the way I did. Neil finally steps away from me and picks up his coat from the floor. I feel even more awkward now sitting on top of the counter, so I slip off the edge and stand on my feet as well. I should go home now. Have a good night, Articles. Neil starts to leave. I mean, let's make it weird. I grab his shirt and quickly press my lips against his. Haha, shock you. I really don't want him to leave, but if he feels he must, I want one last kiss before the spell is broken and I start freaking out about the entire thing. Neil leans in closer and gently responds to my kiss by moving his lips in sync with mine. Wap 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 wap. I'm a grown-up. This time, I'm the one who stops. Good night, Neil, I say. Neil gives me the tiniest nod and then finally leaves the store. I sink down to the floor with my back against the counter and groan out loud in frustration. Not gonna be the one that makes that joke. Not gonna be me. Make it in the comments.